Alright guys, one thing people ask us a lot in the comments and on the social media is why we don't use this color tractor, or why we don't have John Deere, or why we don't have Case IH or New Holland or this or that. So I thought on this rainy day we'd talk about all the tractors we have had, and then maybe we'll talk about why we have what we have now. So Dad, what was the first tractor you remember having on the farm? I mean,
When I first was a kid, 7, 8 years old, I started driving a TO30 Ferguson.
Is that the one you planted with?
That was had 2-bottom plow on it, and I'd drive it. And then Dad bought an Oliver 77, which we still have, that needs restored.
Any restorers in Southern Ohio? Let us know.
And then he bought a Cockshut in '59. Bought a Cockshut 40.
Well, what did you do with the Oliver?
We still have it, and then
No, I mean, what did you guys use it for?
Well, we plowed with it. I think we got the Cockshut first, then got the Oliver, and Dad got it for me to drive, kind of. Put power steering on it. The Cockshut didn't have power steering on it.
So how old would you... the Oliver's like a 55. Was it used or new?
It was used. And I think the Cockshut was like maybe a 59, 58 or 9. He bought it brand new. Cockshut 40. And it pulled a 3-bottom plow. Had a lot of power. But it was all gas.
So were these like main tractors on the farm?
That was the main tractors.
The Cockshut and the Oliver?
Yep. We went from the Ferguson to the Cockshut, I think, then the Oliver. But he still planned with the Ferguson. I had a 2-row mounted planter. And when I was little, I rode on the fender and I got to trip the marker. That was a big deal. And at least I thought it was. Then we got the Cockshut, but it didn't have power steering, and I couldn't drive it because it steered so hard.
He was 9 years old too.
Yeah, so he got then he got the Oliver about the same time, I think. I can't remember now. Anyway, put power steering on it, and I drove it with 2-bottom plow. Had to pull a rope to trip it, and the Cockshut pulled a 3-bottom plow with it. Didn't have hydraulics on them. The Cockshut did, I think, had a hydraulics remote on, but the Oliver didn't. And we switched the plow. We bought a Charlin pump on the PTO, and we could hook a hydraulic cylinder to that. So it worked pretty good. And he bought a mounted picker for it, and that's how we picked corn with it.
So what would have been next then?
Then the next tractor in '62, bought a new John Deere 3010, and boy, we thought that was something then.
So this is the first John Deere then?
That's the first John Deere.
Isn't there a story why Grandpa wouldn't have a John, or maybe there's a
no,
Case IH?
The International, he ordered one during the war, an M or something, with a picker. And when it come in, the guys give it to somebody just got out of the service that needed one and let him have it. And so Dad never said he'd never buy an International tractor. He never. As long as he lived, he had never had any International stuff. But we bought the John Deere 3010. We tried out an AC D19. And we tried out, I think, a 1500 Oliver. The Oliver broke down the first round around the field, so we didn't buy that. The Alf Chalmers had 4-bottom mounted plow, and it was light on the front end. Wouldn't stay on the ground. And we tried the John Deere out, and he liked it, so it was a diesel. But he ended up buying a gas, which was a mistake. But anyway, that's what we used.
Was that a tricycle front end?
It was tricycle front end. All of them was tricycle front ends back in.
Did you have the 3010 to bale hay still when I was a kid, or was that a 3020 or a 3020?
Yeah, we still had the 3010.
Okay, I remember that one.
Yeah. Then when I got out of school, '68.
What year would that 3010 been?
'62, but it was a '61 year.
Okay.
The first one when they first came out, the 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder. Never had John Deere till that because Dad didn't like the old putt-putts. But then we bought the John Deere, and then we was John Deere ever since until several years ago. But we've had several of them. We had
after the 3010
then after the 3010, I got out of school and bought a brand new 4020.
That was your actual first tractor?
That was my first tractor. I think it was like $8,400 or something like that. And saved up money from calves. I had a couple calves every year. Anyway, paid for that, bought that, and then your Uncle John started farming in '72, quit the garage business. I think it was '72. And we bought another 4020. And it was one of the last ones built, 71 year, I think it was. And I think it was like $8,800. They was wide front ends.
So $400 worth of inflation over
over like
over 6
3 or 4 years, 5 years, yeah. And good tractors, boy. I don't know. We didn't put a lot of hours on. I guess when I got rid of mine, traded for 4430 and 76. I think
so you got 8 years, though.
Yes, I think it had probably close to 3,000 hours on it.
Now you put an all-season cab on it, didn't you?
I put a year-round cab on a couple of years after I had it. Pulled a 5-bottom Oliver semi-mount plow with it.
Did it plan, or was that all it did was plow?
No, back then it did the tillage work, and John would run it, or Dad, and then I would plant with the 3010. We got a 4-row planter, and then probably 70 we got a 6-row planter and went to 30-inch. And because we never shelled corn until when I got out of school, we started shelling more corn, and we ran some land.
Dad graduated in '68 for reference.
And we started shelling corn then.
And you were the combine operator then, weren't you? Dad's been driving a combine since 1968.
66.
Since 66.
Dad bought the first self-propelled in 66, a used Gleaner E, and he didn't want it. He wouldn't run it, and I'd run it, come home from school and get on it. And we did some custom work back then, 300 or 400 acres. We had a lot of work back then with a little 10-foot head.
So back then, you guys didn't do beans yet, though, just corn?
Mostly corn.
And clover
Well,
seed?
yes, we did beans, and we started raising beans after we got that machine.
Yeah, okay. Before
that, he had the old pull-type 60s and 66s, pull-type ACs, and they wouldn't do beans very well. Then we bought the self-propelled and started raising beans. When I got out of school, started raising beans.
So John got his 4020 in 72, and then you say you traded, the next tractor purchase would have been 76 then for the 4430?
4430 and 76, and run that. And
I can remember that tractor.
Yeah, good tractor.
So that's
probably
probably the longest you ever kept a tractor, ain't it?
Well,
outside that, I mean, and usable.
Yeah, they come out with the John Deere. Come out with golly, what was the next tractor? 8300. Oh no, we had a in 76 we bought the 8430 4-wheel drive John Deere, so that was our big tractor.
So that was for tillage.
For tillage,
and that was an articulating tractor.
Yes, we went to chisel plowing then.
Were those V8 diesels or?
No, they was I think a 404 cubic inch or 466 maybe. I think it was 404.
What was big horsepower?
It was back then. That tractor 84 was like got 175, and the 8630 was maybe 200, something like that.
Maybe so more. What bottom plow would you pull with that then? I mean,
well, we didn't plow. We went to chisel plow. We didn't do any more plowing. Went to chisel plow until.
Would it pull a 15-foot chisel?
15-foot chisel plow, pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Put anhydrous on with it. Okay. And did that in the fall usually, but yeah.
So what was John's next tractor then? Did he keep the 4020 for a while?
We used it. Yeah, we kept it. Then he bought a Ford 8600 Ford in 80s probably.
So that'd be a front wheel assist?
No, all two-wheel drives. Had a cab on it. It was a pretty nice tractor.
Was it blue?
Blue. It's a Ford.
I don't remember even seeing pictures of that one.
Had a 5-bottom, bought a 5-bottom, 6-bottom plow with it. Semi-mount. Oliver made the plow for him. And it was an Oliver plow. We always liked the Oliver plows. And that's what he plowed with. And I had a 6-bottom John Deere plow. And boy, they didn't plow together. It was a darn. They were rough. The John Deere didn't do a very good job. But then we went to chisel plow and everything. And I guess he bought the Ford maybe before we bought the around the same time as John Deere 4-wheel drive.
So what, did you just have one chisel plow then?
Yeah, we bought another one.
What'd you put?
The one we had was a disc chisel. We did our stalks.
Right.
Then we bought a white disc chisel.
We still have that one, don't we?
No, we still got the John Deere disc chisel.
Okay.
That's a 76. It's old.
Okay.
Hasn't been used for a few years, but it still works okay. Then what did we have? I guess I traded my 4430 for.
Well, how long did you have that 4-wheel drive Deere? What was it replaced with?
Oh, golly, I'll have to think now.
There's a Challenger in there somewhere, ain't there?
We traded John Deere. Yeah, we traded John Deere for a 65 Challenger. That's when they first come out.
This would have been 90?
This would have been 88.
88.
Because brother-in-law, he sold for Holt Rafakis, who bought off of. He sold them. We had the second one in the state and kept it for.
This was a track tractor.
Track tractor, nice tractor, compact, and it had really good controls and the power shift. It was a nice tractor, just didn't have much power for what we wanted to do. And we tried to buy a couple of years, 3 or 4 years later, we tried to buy
Tried to buy another one, didn't you?
another one, a 75. We had a prototype, and they brought it down and we run it some, and it had some power. And we priced a John Deere 8960, I think it was, big old Cummins. And it was a little bit more power than that 75 Challenger, but it was like $50,000 cheaper, so that's what we bought. And we only chiseled a couple years with it, and then we went to no-till.
Okay, so at what point did you get rid of the 4430? That had to be mid-90s?
It was probably early 90s, whenever they come out with the 8000 series, John Deere's. I bought an 8300, I think it was. Can't remember how much it was, 60,000 maybe, if that.
60,000?
Maybe something like that. The John 4430 was like 22, I think, and it seemed like maybe 60 or 70 for the 84 or the 8300.
So, like that 8300 would have been like a top of the line, bigger tractor being made at that point, wasn't it? Like for a front wheel assist?
Yeah, front wheel assist. It was the first front wheel assist we had.
Just trying to wrap my mind around a main tractor costing $60,000.
Yeah, it was a lot of money back then, but they said back in the 80s someday tractor cost $100,000. My God, look at them now. Can't get nothing for $100,000. Little one. And we run the 8960. Just John run it. He chiseled with it or did the tillage work. But then we went to no-till in like 95 or so, 94 when he got sick. And we no-tilled, and then we no-tilled ever since. And
what was his planting tractor after the Ford?
He planted with that 8960 he had on that.
On the air seeder.
We bought that big air seeder.
Okay,
it was a
Morris, wasn't it?
It was a Blue Jet caddy with colders up front, 12 rows, and the air seeder on top, Morris air seeder, and drill units on behind. And we used that thing for, I don't know how many years we used it, 10, 15, probably 15. The drill units was the best drill. They didn't hold up at all. Went bad the first year, so I made them in the shop, made parallel linkage for them, put all new openers on it, redid them all, and it worked fine. So it worked fine then.
So whenever he got rid of the air seeder, is that when he got the 8400 then?
When we got the air seeder, he pulled that 8960.
Yeah.
Then we bought, I traded for an 8400, and when they come out in like 96.
So you traded your 83 for an 84.
Yeah, and he bought one 6 months later. He got traded.
And that's the one we still have. It's in the equipment tour video.
It's 2,600 hours or something like that. All brand new. The 8960, what did we trade it for?
And it's not for sale.
Nope, not for sale. I don't know, we traded 8960. What did we trade it for? Can't remember now. I think about it.
Wouldn't have been that 8400? Or
no, I don't think we. Yeah, it might have been the 8400 traded.
I can remember John always having a Farmall or a Case Magnum.
Well, in between, they traded the Ford for a 7120 when they come out, Case Magnum. That's the first Case tractor we ever had international. And I planted with it.
I didn't know you planted with it.
And we still had the 8960. I think that's when we had the 8960. He did all the tillage work with it.
Okay.
But I planted several years. Yeah, we had a 12-row fold-up planter, John Deere.
I never knew you. I always thought you planted with the 44.
No, when we had that 12-row, then we got that,
Okay.
and we planted with it.
All right, so now we're back to the 8400. You had it for, what'd you trade it for? 7920, wasn't it?
They come out with CVT, and I'd like to try it once, so I bought it, and I know it was a...
So you had that 8400 from 96 to 2004?
When they come out with CVTs.
I think yours was either a 2003 or a 2004.
Okay, when they first came out, it wasn't near the power. We put a chip on it.
That's right. Because we
That
were
helped.
still strip tilling at that
We
point
were strip
too.
tilling. We had
And that 7920 is a light tractor.
Yeah, it didn't have the horse that my 8400 had them big 810 duals, 810, big tires wide. And it was a horse, and but I traded for this CVT, and I liked it at first, but then I didn't like it.
We had some issues. It would just stop on you sometimes going down the road.
My 8400, the power shift would just
every time it switched the clutch
shifted.
packs,
It was just terrible. It just jerked so bad. He had to calibrate so often. It seemed like if they calibrate, get down the road, it'd go right back. But John's was the serial number different, 6 months newer, and his didn't have any problem.
Which is why we kept that one.
Yeah, that's why and today it shifts smooth. The CVT or IVT, they call it, whatever it was, it has a clutch pack in there, and when it went from like 5 or 6 mile an hour to the higher range, boy, it would jerk also. But it just didn't have, it wasn't the tractor the 8400 was. And we traded it. I traded it for what, the 305 Magnum.
Yeah,
the first.
It was a 2008 or 9.
Liked the Magnum. It was a nice tractor. Had one issue with it. I think they had to split it to put a 10-cent O-ring in it.
Yeah.
It
had plenty of power.
Yeah, it was. I liked
it was
the
a Cummins motor.
And the reason I bought a Magnum, I tried to buy a John Deere.
We were pretty loyal, John. We were all John Deere
at
this point, except for the combine.
So
we'll get into the combines after the tractor.
We tried to trade for a John Deere, a year-old machine.
Well, we priced a John Deere and an AGCO.
Yeah, a year-old machine with 200 and some hours on it was $25,000 more than a brand new Magnum.
Well, the Magnum we got was a demo, wasn't it, or something?
I think it was
a show tractor or something.
We run it for how many years we run it?
13.
No, that
tractor was a 13.
No, the 305.
Yeah, but I'm saying you traded it for a 2013 Challenger.
Yes, we traded it for a tractor, yes.
We had it from 2008 to 2012.
Run it 3 years. I priced a rubber tart. I'd like to have the CVT in it. That's what I wanted. Well, they had a deal on this one. Tractor, not much more money, so that's what we got. And then after that, nobody liked driving it, tearing up the gravel and everything. And it was dry. We never had it.
George couldn't get used to it.
Couldn't get used to it. And it was dry. It didn't rain the time I had it, when it mud.
We only had it for 3 years.
3 years. And I traded for what we got now, the 685. Same year, had just about the same hours on it. Just traded back to them. And it has the CVT, and I really like the transmission in it.
That's another question I get is why we don't have tractors. We tried them.
Yeah, if now they have the CVT in them, and we might consider one the next time. They got a better ride. They rode rough. I planted with it, and that big 24-row planter is what we got mounted on the toolbar on the back. I mean, it's poles mounted with the mounted 3-point hitch. All the weight's on that tractor when you pick it up for transport, and boy, it just beats you to death going down the road. And but through the field it was smooth, and we never had any issues with it, I don't think, did we?
No.
Yep.
Well, let's get back to their other tractors. Now, those were the tractors you have, and that's up to current. Now, when my uncle, he passed away in 2010. And when he passed away, I started planting and using one of the main tractors. And at that time, he had also bought a 7920 John Deere. And we used it for a couple more years, and then we bought a used 275 Steiger and used it for a few years. We only used it 1 year.
1 year.
And then we leased, and that's when we started leasing the second tractor. We leased a 340 Magnum, and it was just a heck of a deal. Couldn't buy one for what we were leasing it for at that time. Had it for 3 years, and then we leased what was that last one? A 420 Steiger.
420, the 4 articulate, what we used to.
The 340, I mean, I don't have enough hours in that Challenger to say one way or another the new Challenger, but the 340 so far has been my favorite tractor. It was it had air ride cab and suspended front axle, and other than being a power shift, I mean, it was a really nice tractor. We had some issues with it at first, but I mean, it ended up being a really good machine. The Steiger, it just had a lot of power, which was nice, but it was real jerky and hard to get smooth with. And I think this Challenger, I mean, it's a nice tractor too. That's what we have now. We leased a 1038 Challenger this past year, but like I said, I just don't have enough time with it to have much opinion on it yet.
The John Deeres were good tractors. We liked John Deere. I mean, we had all John Deere equipment, combine, and everything, but
it's almost like they priced themselves out of our barns.
Yeah, it's kind of out of our markets. And the Magnum was a good tractor. If you looked at it, I think it was pretty close to looking like a John Deere and things, but it had the Cummins engine, it had power. But I like the John Deeres, but
and we're not saying we would never have a John Deere again.
But service means a lot, and our dealers kept us going, and we can't kick on now, that's for sure. And not to say that our John Deere dealer wasn't either, but I know guys had some issues, but everybody has issues with them.
There's a lot more John Deere machines than AGCO machines out.
Oh yeah.
But that pretty much covers the main tractors up to present. Probably break this video in half, and now we're going to talk about combines.